I have always struggled with persistence. It's something that I have had to actively work on in my life, and it's still something that I struggle with to this day. I have always been someone who starts things with enthusiasm and energy, but then have a hard time seeing things through to the end. One of the biggest challenges I face when it comes to persistence is my tendency to get easily discouraged. When things don't go as planned or I encounter obstacles, I tend to give up quickly. I often find myself thinking that if something is difficult or not working out, it's not meant to be. Getting easily distracted doesn't help me. I find myself easily drawn to new and exciting things, which ends up making it harder for me to focus on one task or goal for a long period of time. I have a hard time saying no to new opportunities, even when I know it's not the best decision for me. But I'm learning to be more persistent. I've read books, I've listened to podcasts, and have research studies done on persistency. One study in particular, by researchers at the University of Chicago, found that people who consistently work towards their goals, even after getting setback, were much more likely to achieve them than those who gave up easily. So I made a conscious effort to become more persistent. I started by setting small, achievable goals for myself, such as reading for 30 minutes every day or running 2 miles 3 times a week. Before, I would say I had to read an hour a day. I would say I'd run a mile every day. My goals were just not sustainable with my life, and I quickly realized that I needed to start with something that could down the line snowball into something bigger. I made a habit of working towards them every day, and I was able to build momentum and make progress. As I grew more comfortable with this habit of consistency, I began to set larger and more challenging goals for myself. For example, deciding to take on a double major despite the fact that it would require a significant amount of additional coursework and studying. I knew it would be difficult, but I was determined to see it through because of the confidence that was built by accomplishing the much smaller goals I'd accomplished earlier on. I applied this persistence to other areas of my life. In my part-time job, I made a point to take on extra responsibilities and work harder than anyone else. Eventually, I was promoted to a management role, all within 3 months from my change and the promise to myself in being persistent with what I told myself I was going to do. Over time, I've learned that persistence is not about never giving up, but about continuing to work towards your goals even when things get tough. I made a commitment to myself to never give up because I was just so tired of the lack of confidence and lack of motivation that comes with knowing that I'm not a consistent person. No matter what obstacles I face, this mindset will serve me and can serve you very well in academics, your professional setting, and personal relationships. In the beginning, it was somewhat easy to remain motivated, but as time went on, I had to figure out ways to keep that motivation. I found it really helpful to remind myself of why I wanted to achieve that goal in the first place. For me, it was being so tired of the person who could not be consistent. I would write down my reasons and keep them somewhere visible, like on my fridge or on my laptop background. And you can do that too, but it won't work unless you make a conscious effort to try and read those reasons as often as possible. Something else that helped me stay motivated was celebrating wins along the way. For example, if I hit a consistency milestone in school or at work, whether that was not missing an assignment for a whole month or not getting to work late for 2 months straight, I would do something small that I know I would appreciate. Something like a meal I usually wouldn't get or getting a new book I've been wanting. It would help remind me that the progress I was making was real. Lastly, being mindful of everything around me helped with my persistency. I would say this was the biggest positive contributor to becoming more persistent, also the hardest. I learned to be more aware of my thoughts and emotions and to approach them with a non-judgmental attitude. I would take a few seconds each day to sit and focus on my breath, think about what I was thinking and why I was thinking it. This helped me clear my mind and be more present in the moment. It also helped me to stay calm and focused when faced with challenges, which made it easier for me to persist in the face of difficulties. By combining all these practices, consistency, mindfulness, and staying motivated, I was able to build a persistence habit, and it has truly changed my life. I know that I can achieve anything I set my mind to as long as I stay consistent and persistent in my efforts. I know you can too.